Wake Up Tucson with Joe Higgins and Christy Simone on 1030 KVOI, The Voice.
One down, one to go, another town, one more show.
7:51 in the morning. Joe Higgins, Christy Simone, Ed Alexander. 790-2040. Joe has a list of these are your transgressions on federalism.
Right. What I'm asking you is what purviews are directly related to states anymore? What areas of responsibility are the states fully responsible for?
Right.
And constitutionally, it was education originally. That was the thing. You're in charge of education. But look at how they come in. The federal comes in through Common Core, Race for the Top. Look at the school lunch programs. Anytime federal money comes back in, they get influence on the process at the state level.
Yep.
So does education truly rely and rest on the states? I think 10% of the money comes back from the feds down. Now, every time it comes from the feds, realize it's coming out of your pocket as a taxpayer, going up to Washington, D.C., coming back at you with handcuffs.
Right.
We're going to give you this money, but this is how you have to spend it. School lunch program is a prime example of that. Look at the Department of Justice. They're in the middle of these police force issues, doing justice investigations in Baltimore, in Ferguson, in all these major flare-ups.
Yep.
So now you have the Department of Justice in the middle of your police forcing, local police force actions. Okay, Chris, you got a little wash in your backyard.
Which, of course, has nothing to do with interstate commerce.
Of course.
Having a race riot in Baltimore.
Right.
But we got to send them in.
We got to get in and we got to look at the state. Okay, navigable waterways. If you have a wash, a tributary that leads into another wash, you are fully in navigable waterways. And technically, the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers can come in and tell you, yes, no, maybe, here's how you have to develop your own property that you own. So do we really have private property rights anymore? That's a huge question you got to look at. Squishy light bulbs. Now I got to buy a certain type of light bulb. Well, that's coming across state lines. What if I'm in Arizona? This was Frank's point. If the bulb is made in Arizona and sold in Arizona, you shouldn't have any purview on what kind of light bulb I use in
So
my
here's
state.
the question. So if you had a light bulb, a regular, boring, 100-watt, incandescent, old one from 20 years kind of style, and you produced it in Arizona, and you sold it in Arizona, and it only happened in Arizona, do you think this court could figure out a way to get their nose in it
because it affects some nutball in Connecticut?
Right.
Is that what you're getting at?
That's what I'm thinking.
Sure. Okay, NLRB, OSHA. Think of all the OSHA regulations are coming down to the job sites. So the states are no longer in charge of that area of regulation. Okay, how about these? The back to basic grants that come through these council offices.
Right.
Each council office gets $5 million and they go build lights or street signs or they do a park or they put sidewalks in. That's federal money coming back into the local jurisdiction for basic grants. How about the streetcar?
How about community block grants?
Community block grants, another one. All your workforce training grants, all that kind of stuff. They're taking over the internet, the FCC and radio. All this stuff, guys, is such an encroachment on states' rights. We are no longer a state system. We are a federal Goliath, which is what we were afraid of when this country was formated, which is what we fled from Britain. We're now no longer states' rights.
Yep.
Show me one area that we have complete purview on and that we control at the state level. Land, transportation, education, workforce development, Justice Department, alphabet soup. Do you think of one area that is directly the purview? We take this money for Medicaid expansion, all this Medicaid stuff, and you can't go in and do anything creative. You can't charge a copay to someone that's needs-based.
I don't see too much Fed stuff in tourism. That's all I can tell you. Tourism promotion.
Don't give me any ideas over there, man.
Again, when we talk about elections having consequences, when we talk about the Republicans controlling both houses plus the presidency, and George Bush not defending the brand and blah, 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 and you get a Barack Obama, well, in the end, a lot of Obama's these legacies are utter crap. But the two we're going to live with forever or a long time is Elena Kagan and Sotomayor. All right, they have to be, and one of them was already involved with one of these things in the first place.
Kennedy's been a flip all over the place. In fact, he's on the other side of this Arizona Commission. Ginsburg, the next president, is probably going to replace her. If you get a conservative in there, a Clarence Thomas type or an Alito type, you could see 5-4s going the other way a lot.
You're correct.
Kennedy can move all over the place, but you could still have your higher.
If you're a Republican and you're sitting on your tail and you maybe want to change this country for your kids and grandkids, get the president in there just so.
Hope she stays healthy for the next 12 months, number one.
Right.
And number
that's
two,
true.
hope you get a Republican president because she will leave on the next term.
Let's go to bill number 2 on line 3. 790-2040 is the phone number. Let's go to Stuart on line 4. Stuart, you're on with Chris and Joe. What's up?
Gentlemen,
Hey.
I just wanted to remind you that recently the U.S. Supreme Court told Texas what they can in license plate.
That's right.
Why does Texas have a Supreme Court if it can't make a decision on an internal mechanism like that?
And what is it, because they travel across state lines with these license plates? Is that how they get the jurisdiction to come in and say that?
Well, I'm sure you used your light bulb example. Remember that court case in the 30s or 40s? I forget the name of it, but where that guy in Kansas or wherever couldn't grow his own wheat, even though he wasn't selling it, it was just for his own purposes, and they said it affected market because
Right.
yeah, you remember that?
Right. The use of interstate commerce clause as the shoehorn into so many of these decisions.
Well, the other
especially
thing
in
is
the commerce
about the
world.
light bulb is everything that makes the light bulb is probably going to have to come from Arizona.
Right, copper and
Okay, because if you get something to make the glass that comes from New Mexico, you're toast.
The real challenge will come when an Illinois goes bankrupt and they come rushing to the federal government and says, I need help. That's when the constitutional crisis will happen. Texas will say, wait a minute now.
Stuart, thanks for the call, man. Have a good day. Let's go to Ingrid on line 2. Ingrid, you're on with Chris and Joe. Good morning.